Hi, I'm Larissa with IdeateTV, and I'm here with Christopher, the founder of Life After Stroke. Can you tell us a little bit about what you do?
Let's see. April 21st, 2018, I had a hemorrhagic stroke. I work in television. I've worked on soap operas and TV shows, won an Emmy Award and everything else, and I have a TV studio here in Hollywood. And I was at my studio in Hollywood talking to people like I'm talking to you right now, and started to feel kind of loopy and was thinking, okay, I don't know what's going on right now, but I'm going to keep talking. Nobody's looking at me like I'm crazy, so I'm going to keep talking. It must be okay. Well, like 2 seconds later, somebody looked at me like I was crazy and said, okay, are you feeling okay? And I was like, no, but I think so. I don't know. And come to find out I was having a hemorrhagic stroke where you have a blood vessel explode in your brain. 50%, well, let's see, 87% of strokes are ischemic strokes. Those are the ones kind of like grandma has, where you have a clot in your brain. 13 to 15% of strokes are hemorrhagic strokes. They're extremely deadly. You're bleeding into your brain. We have blood in our brain, but you can't have blood on your brain. It has to stay in blood vessels. And when it gets out of that blood vessel, it's like pouring water on paper. And 50% of us die in the first couple days, and for whatever reason, I'm still here. And I was in intensive care for 5 days at Cedars-Sinai, and then a month and a half at a rehab hospital to learn how to walk and talk and everything else all over again. And it was crazy, really crazy. And basically through being in the hospital and not knowing anything about stroke, going to Dr. Google and Dr. YouTube, trying to find out anything I could find, finding very little, and knowing that back at my studio I've got TV cameras and radio stuff because I'm already working in the business. And I just thought when I get out, we're going to create a radio show and try to educate people on stroke. So that's what Life After Stroke is. It's a radio show that we do. It's on Apple Podcasts and Google Podcasts and Spotify and iHeartRadio. And then I created the Stroke Channel, which is on television. It's on Roku and Amazon Fire and apps and everything. And it's basically to help educate people about stroke. It's to help people that already have a stroke, maybe with physical therapy. You don't have any more insurance. You gotta love health insurance, right? I mean, I have great health insurance. Some people don't. But when you run out of insurance and you can't get physical therapy anymore, now you can pick up a remote control and go to the Stroke Channel, and there you go. So do stuff like that. Yeah.
That's really awesome that you're doing that for everybody, because we were saying, that's not something that I think the general public really thinks about, is what to do after the fact,
Yeah, well, certainly, and I don't know who your audience is with this, but I would be remiss if I didn't say this. Definitely think be fast is the kind of the term that we use in the stroke world. Balance, eyes wandering, facial droop, arm weakness, slurred speech, time to call 911. So if you think somebody's acting a little crazy, look for those kind of signs. Again, it's called be fast. And that's what you have to be. You must be fast, because with every minute there's just, a million or 2 million brain cells are dying. I think it's like every minute, so it's really crazy. And stroke is very prevalent. Every 40 seconds somebody's having a stroke. Every 4 minutes in the United States somebody's dying of a stroke. So just during this time we're kicking it right here, some people have already had a stroke, and by the time we're done, somebody will have died from a stroke. So it's very common, and people are having it younger and younger. Stroke can happen at any age. I've met people that had a stroke in their mother's womb, believe it or not. Yeah.
Wow.
I was at the Abilities Expo in, I think it was Houston we were at, either Houston or Chicago. And this girl was 18 years old. She came up with her mom. We were just all standing around kicking it. And she had a stroke in her mom's womb. Her mom had gone back to her I don't know what pregnant women go to. I know, what is it, neonatal kind of stuff or something like that? Prenatal, I guess it is. She knew that the baby was moving differently than it had been. For 8.5 months, she was moving just like a normal feeling baby in there. But she said right about a few weeks before she was due, she felt like the baby was having these tremors, she described them. And so they did some kind of a MRI or CAT scan, or I don't know what you do when somebody is pregnant, and I guess ultrasound, exactly. And they looked and they said, yeah, your baby had a stroke. So they waited till she was born, and they looked and said, yeah, sure enough, she had a stroke, and she had another one 3 weeks later.
Wow.
So she had 2 strokes, and she was 18 years old. Looked, normal kid. I mean, she had a little speech problem, but other than that, so my point is stroke happens at any age. I meet people all the time, people in their teens, 20s, 30s having strokes, for all kinds of crazy reasons. So it ain't just grandma and grandpa's stroke anymore, it's serious stuff.
Yeah. So it's really awesome that you put out this information for everybody, because since it affects a wide variety of people, you just never know.
Absolutely. And I think it's important because really, like with like heart attacks even, but time is of such essence, especially with a stroke, because again, it's your brain, and when that oxygen is cut off in your brain, you're dying. I mean, you are like slowly dying, and if it's cut off too long, then you really do die, and you're not no longer slowly dying. You are now dead. So, so if you've got buddies, you've got friends that are acting a little crazy. I met a guy just a few weeks ago. He was acting a little funny, and his buddies thought he was drunk, so they put him to bed. And he was in bed for 18 hours having a stroke. Yeah, so it's serious stuff. And as you might imagine, I mean, he's alive, but it ain't pretty.
Yeah.
But, had he gotten help right away, like if his friends had said, dude, you look funny, but I don't know what this is, but we're throwing you in the car and taking you to the hospital or calling 911, he would have fared much better.
Yeah.
But, laying for 18 hours, sleeping while you're having a stroke is not cool.
Good.
Yeah, not good. So keep an eye on your friends, keep an eye on your loved ones,
Yeah.
Yeah.
Be watchful.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Well, thank you so much, Christopher.
Yeah,
I
no
really
problem.
like what you're doing here.
Well,
It's
thanks.
awesome.
Thanks for saying hi.
Yeah,
You bet.
thank you. I'm Larisa with IdeateTV, and Christopher, thank you so much.
All right.